This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, I'm going to We're going to speak a little bit today about the Sair Azazel, the Sair HaMishtaleach, which is quite a mysterious procedure. And in fact, the Sair Azazel is able to accomplish what no other carbon is able to accomplish the whole year. Sair Azazel is mechaper all the averos of Klal Yisrael, b'shoigeg, some say b'mezid, and it has a unique ability of kapara that no other carbon has the ability to be mechaper. And it's rather mysterious. Who exactly are we offering this carbon to? How are we accomplishing this? Here we take the cliff, we take the goat, we put all the sins on its head, and we toss it off the side of a cliff until all of its limbs break apart. What is the meaning of the Sair Azazel? And the Gemara says, you have to say something to ask questions on. First let me, Okay. Says the Gemara in Samach Zayin Amud Beis in Masechta Yuma, as chukos sai tishmeiru. What does it mean, keep my chukos? Dvarim sha'asatan meishiv aleihem. Matters that the Satan refutes us and asks us on. Ve'elu hein, achilas chazir, ulavishas shatnez, v'chalitzas yivama, eating the pig, wearing klayim, chalitza, the purification of the mitzvah, and a primary example of a chayk is Sair HaMishtaleach. Lest you think these things are empty, therefore it says, Ani Hashem, I am God who gave forth these chukim, and you have no rishus to question them. Okay? That you would think that they don't have meaning. They have meaning. God says, I know the meaning. Okay, Rabbi Glatstein. So in the wake of the two last Wednesday Shiurim, we're going to learn today a piece from the Satmar Rebbe on the secret of the Sair HaMishtaleach, something that I found really unbelievable. The secret of the Sair HaMishtaleach, and hopefully it will give us insight into some of the mystical opportunities that lay ahead of us, and I'm not going to give anything away. So, if you look at number 2, this is a piece from the Divrei Yael, here in the Young Israel of Kugarn Hills. We're learning a sefer Divrei Yael from the Matzah Yom HaKippurim, and the question is like this. He says, there's a wondrous thing about the order of the day of Yom Kippur. V'hu inyan hasar hamishtaleach la'azazel. Dehinei l'chayra. Kol inyan hasar hamishtaleach hu mipliyos tamim deos. It's a complete mystery. It is one of the wonders of providence that Hashem should command us to take a goat, put on it all of the sins of Klal Yisrael, and we get atonement. Yes, in fact, the Gemara does say in Yuma that it is a chayik, but nevertheless, if you look through the Rishonim, they try to offer some explanation, some meaning of the mitzvah of the Sair HaMishtaleach, and therefore, says the Satmar Rebbe, God has given him, he believes, some room also to further the ideas of the Rishonim, and that's what we would like to investigate today. Okay? And any discussion of the Sair Azazel must begin with the 2 lines of commentary of the Ibn Ezra. The Ibn Ezra, this week's Parsha, says like this. Says the Ibn Ezra, by the way, the Kotzker once said about the Ibn Ezra, he cannot even begin to imagine how a man could have such big shoulders to carry so much Yirah Shamayim. That's what he said about the Ibn Ezra. Ibn Ezra is even quoted by Tosfos sometimes, in Masechta Rosh Hashanah. Tosfos quotes Ibn Ezra. And the Ibn Ezra says as follows. If you want to understand the secret, Shehu Achar Milas Azazel, which is after the word Azazel, Teida Soidai, you should know the secret. V'soid Shemai, and the name of the secret is secret. Kiyesh Lo Chaverim B'Mikra, it has friends in the Chumash. So already, what in the world is this man talking about? Right? If you want to know the secret of the Azazel, you should know the secret. Its name is secret. It has friends. I will reveal to you part of the secret in a hint. When you become 33, you'll understand it.
Well, that makes everything clear.
Rabbi,
Well, a second.
It's a sar, not as a carbon. And the Torah doesn't describe the sar as a carbon. It says for chaper, but it's not a carbon. It's not hikrid. For the sar, for Aaron, the other one.
It's still a carbon. Carbon doesn't just mean it's brought. It's offered.
It's bayat. It's not shafted.
So
it couldn't be
okay.
considered a carbon.
It's still all right. That's what the Ibn Ezra says. Ibn Ezra says if you want to understand the secret of the Azazel, you should know the secret. Secret is the name. It has friends. I'll reveal to you part of the secret. When you get to 33, you'll know it. Anyone here 33 yet?
Twice.
Yeah? So, what does it mean when you get to 33, you'll understand it? So, we have various Rishonim who try to explain the holy words of the Ibn Ezra. What does it mean when you get to 33, you'll understand it? So, first we begin with the Das Ekenim Mibale Toisus. He quotes the Ibn Ezra. So, already you know, if Tosfos is quoting the Ibn Ezra and trying to say Pshat in the Ibn Ezra, you know who the Ibn Ezra is. Tosfos doesn't just say Pshat in anybody. Tosfos says like this. Ibn Ezra says, Kishetagia l'shloishim v'shalosh teida'enu. V'hachi perusha. This is what he means to say. Kishetagia l'galed. When you get to the one word in the Chumash that has the number 33 in it, which is galed. Right? Lavan called it what? Yigar Sadusa. V'Yaakov Karaloi Galed Sha'oila B'Gematria Lamed Gimel. Then you'll see, just like the word Galed is one word which is consisting of two words. Galed is one word in the Torah, but it's made out of two words. Gal, the mound of stones. Aid is a witness. So too the word Azazel is one word which comes from two words. Sha'oisa teva mischalekes l'shnayim koloymar galed bad each word separately v'hachanami techolek hai teva l'shnayim. You could break up the word into two. Azazel, Azel. What's an az? An az is a goat. What's azal? To go. So it means the goat goes. That's what the word means. Azazel, the goat goes. Now, is that what the Ibn Ezra means? When you get to 33, you'll understand. That's the big secret here. That the word Azazel is two words. Az, goat, Azal, it will go. But that's what Tosfos says is the secret of Ibn Ezra. That when you get to 33, you will understand it. Comes along the Rush. And the Rush says, I have a different shot in the Ibn Ezra. What does the Ibn Ezra mean? When you get to 33, you'll understand it. Says the Rush. Rabbi Avram ben Ezra, Rabbi Yoischa ben Lamed Gimel Teida'enu, Perush lePerushai. I'll tell you what the man means. L'soif Lamed Gimel Psukim. Count 33 Psukim from the word Azazel. Timsa Perushai. There you'll find the explanation. What do you have 33 Psukim after the word Azazel? You have number 6. V'lo yizbechu oid es zivcheim la Sairim. Do not offer karbanos to goats. In other words, do not offer anymore your karbanos to goats. So in other words, if you look in the Rush says, take a look in Acharei Mos at the word Azazel. Where does it say Azazel? So count 33 psukim. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. No shaykhs. Guess how much it's off by?
1.
A couple. Well, which Azazel do you count from?
Secret.
Which do you count from? Well, apparently you count from one of them, and after counting psukim from one of the Azazels, you get to the pasuk of V'lo yizbechu oid as zivcheyem Shiurim. Now, how does that help us understand what Azazel is? Somehow,
Sair, here it talks about Sair.
we know that Azazel was a Sair. It says you take Shnei Shiurim, right? But apparently the pasuk is saying you're not to offer karbanos to the demons, and that's telling us Azazel is not a carbon brought to the demons. It must be. It's revealing to us it's brought to Hashem. Again, not giving us that much insight into what the Sair Azazel is, but nevertheless, it's a rather creative explanation for what the Ibn Ezra means. That if you count 33 psukim, again, I'm not sure how do you get 33, because the first time Azazel appears is pasuk Tes, and the parak ends Lamed Daled, which is 25. Oh, so then it must be it's referring to the first time. In other words, in pasuk Ches, V'nasan Aaron al Shnei Asim Gairos, Garach ala Azazel. That's pasuk Ches. The parak ends in Lamed Daled. What's 34 minus 8? 26. And then 7 psukim. Okay, so then you get to the pasuk V'yizbechu oides of Chem Asir. So that's the explanation of the Rosh. There's a commentary on the Ibn Ezra called Avi Ezer. And the Avi Ezer offers a number of more explanations for what the Ibn Ezra means, that when you get to 33 you'll understand it. He says like this: HaMefarshim dibru harbe be'inyan hasoid. The Mefarshim speak at great length regarding the secret of what does it mean when you get to 33 you'll understand it. Says the Avi Ezer, L'daiti nira haremes koy al Bilam. You know who it's talking about? Bilam. Because how old was Bilam when he died? 33 years old. So how do we know that? The Gemara says in Sanhedrin that Rishaim lo yachatzu yameim. Rishaim do not even live out half of their lives. Now, how long is the average lifespan of man? 70. Right? David HaMelech says, Yemei shnei seinu v'hem shivim shana. So that means the half span of life is 35. Rishon don't even live out to 35. That means Bilam lived till 33. But wait a second. He should have lived to 34. It's a raya, what? No, who's going to say it?
Off one is okay.
When it comes to Gematria, you're allowed to be off one. Thank you very much. Someone learned something here over the last 6 years. Good. Right? It's another proof. Who remember the other proof? V'noishantem, right? It says you can't be in Eretz Yisrael 8:52, so God kicked us out at 8:50. Why 8:50? Why not 8:51? Chumash Hadashin says you'll have to be off one. This is another raya. Okay? So, now we know that Bilam, we found in Bilam's notebook that Risham do not live out half their lives, and that's how he lived to 33. Now what does the Sair Azazel have to do with Bilam? Well, that's why the Ibn Ezra says you have to look at the word after Azazel. What's the word after Azazel?
Hamidbara.
Well, it depends which Azazel.
Okay.
One of the Azazels, it says Hamidbara. And we know Bilam also was very interested in the Midbar. It says Vayashas El Hamidbar Panav. And the Gemara says in Yuma, Azazel's mechaper for the Avera of Azza and Azael. Who are these chevra? So there's a Medrash Avgir in the Yalkut on Bereshis that the Talmidim ask Yosef, what's Azazel? That we know Bilam learned Kishuf from a man by the name of Azael. So that's what the Ibn Ezra means when you get to 33, which means when you reach Bilam's age, then you'll understand what Azazel's mechaper for, because Bilam learned Kisha from Azael, and we know that Azazel's mechaper for Azael, and that's what the Ibn Ezra means. Also, quite a cryptic meaning of the Ibn Ezra. But we're not finished yet. So far, how many pshatim did we say? 3. Right? Tosfos says...
The 33rd shot, then we'll understand.
Right? We're almost there. Listen. Rabbi say, pshat number 1 is that Galed, that it's a compound word, so to Azazel is a compound word. Pshat number 2 is you count 33 psukim from Azazel. Pshat number 3 is you have to go to Bilam, who lived to 33 years old. Pshat number 4. The Ibn Ezra says in Parshas Vayigash, when it counts the family of Yaakov Avinu, it says the descendants of Leah were 33. The problem is that there are only 32. So says the Ibn Ezra, who do you have to count? You have to count Yaakov. Yaakov's number 33. So what the Ibn Ezra means is, if you want to understand the secret of Azazel, go to look at Yaakov Avinu. What did Yaakov Avinu do? Yaakov Avinu sent presents to Esav. He tried to bribe Esav. So the Karvan Azazel were trying to bribe the Malach of Esav. So he says, Gam Ev Shalom, B'derech Acher, Lefi HaMavur, Devei Harav, Parshas Vayigash, the Ibn Ezra says in Vayigash, Nefesh Banav V'vnoisav Shloshim V'shalosh, Ve'hem HaYirak Shnayim V'shloshim, but there are only 32, V'Yakov Mashim V'shloshim V'shalosh, Yaakov completes the list. So this is what it means, that the Ibn Ezra says it's a remes to Yaakov. Yaakov Avinu sent a gift to Esav. We also send a Mincha Zikaron, we want to give a bribe to the Sarai Shal Esav. And this is the remes. Sair is like Esav. Okay, Rabbi Sai. So far we had 4 pshatim.
Why do we want to give a bribe and give the impression that the Sair of Esav has a cult in Mechaper?
Oh, we'll see. So again, this is somehow some kind of gift and mincha and bribe that we're giving to the Malach of Esav. And then the Avi Ezra offers another pshat. Wow. That what it means when you get to 33, you'll understand it. It means when the Beis HaMikdash is built, you'll understand it. What does the number 33 have to do with the Beis HaMikdash? Because he says, if you look in Sefer Yechezkel, I'm sure you've been looking there recently, in Parak Mem Aleph Pasuk Vav, it says, V'hatzlois tzela al tzela. It says that 33 times. I'm sure you took note of that. So when it talks about the building of the Beis HaMikdash, it says 32 times Tzela al Tzela. So this is a remez to the building of the Beis HaMikdash. In other words, you know when you're going to understand the Tzela Azazel? When Mashiach comes. Comes the Ramban, and the Ramban said that Shlomo HaMelech gives us good advice. And he says, a faithful person covers over the secret, right? You know, there's some people you could tell secrets to, and there's some people that you know that if you want word to spread, you could tell them, right? So some people you could trust, and some people you know you can't trust, but it's good to know people that you can't trust, because sometimes you need things to get out. So you have to know who to tell secrets to and who to tell things that you need to get out to. So Shlomo HaMelech says a faithful person preserves the secret, and a Baal Lashon Hara reveals the secret. Says Ramban. The Ibn Ezra was a faithful person, and he knew how to preserve a secret. I am the Baal Lashon Hara, and I'm going to reveal the secret to you. That's what the Ramban writes about himself. Look at number 8. V'hinei Rabbi Avram neman ruach mechasa davar. Rabbi Avram ben Ezra is a faithful man. He covers over the matter. V'ani harachel megala saydai. But I, it should say, am the talebearer who reveals the secret to you. And the reason I'm revealing the secret is because the Chachamim already revealed it many times. And that is in Bereshis Rabbah, that they say on the Pasuk, the goat will carry for you. It refers to Esav, the brother of Yaakov, who's called the Sair. Avoinois Sam, you know what Avoinois Sam stands for? Avoinois Tam, the Avera of Yaakov Avinu is the Ishtam. And then the Ramban goes on to quote the Pirkei de Rav Elazar, which I want you to see in number 9 inside. Amar Samuel l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Samach Mem says to God, Ribono shel Olam HaKol Hagoyim nasati l'rishus. You gave me dominion over all the nations, v'al Yisrael einat hanosim l'rishus, but you don't give me dominion over Klal Yisrael. Amar Loi, Hashem says, Harei yesh lecha rishus aleim b'yom HaKippurim. One day a year you have rishus on them to see if they have sin, b'yom lav, and if they don't have sin, in lecha aleim rishus, you have no dominion. Lefikach noisim lo'ishoicha b'yom HaKippurim. Therefore we bribe the. Right? What does a Jew do when he gets in trouble? We Jews, we know one thing we know very well. We got to bribe. Right? Where do we get it from? That's what we do on Yom Kippur. You got to bribe the Sarai Shel Esav. Why? Because we don't want him to mevatel our karbanos.
Something clear though.
What?
He has no shlita. Yom Kippur has no shlita.
No, that's the one day he has shlita. That's what it said 3 lines before, but I cut out that part. I didn't put it on the sheet. But this part of the Pirkei Rabbi Glatstein says the one day a year he has shlita.
Everybody says he has no shlita one day all year.
That's why you come here. Over here you learn the things you didn't learn other places, right? So you have to understand what that means. It could be that one day he doesn't have shlita is because of everything we're about to learn, therefore shlita is taken away. But really, be'etzem, Yom Kippur, he has more shlita than any other day. We just have to bribe him. Could be he takes our bribe. By the way, very quickly, the story about Reb Chaim Brisker. There was once a problem in the city. They wanted to make a decree that they were going to abolish learning Torah in the city. So, this time the person who made the decree was a government official who always prided himself that he was honest and he didn't take bribes. He never took any bribes. So Reb Chaim Brisker walks into the room on the hottest day of the year. It's like 900 degrees outside, and he comes in wearing his fur coat and his hat. And he's dressed like it would be in the middle of the winter, like it snowed 2 feet outside. And Reb Chaim comes in shaking from frostbite. And the guy looks at him, "What, are you out of your mind? It's the hottest day of the year." Reb Chaim said, "You won't believe it. Last night I had a dream that tomorrow is going to be such a big snowstorm that it was so real that I'm so cold from it." The guy said, "In the middle of July there's going to be a snowstorm. Are you crazy?" Reb Chaim says, "I'll bet you $1,000 it's going to snow tomorrow. And if it doesn't snow, I'll give you $1,000. That's how borer I am. It's going to snow." Sure enough, the next day comes, and it's hotter than the day before. So Reb Chaim says, "Look, I don't know what happened. It must be my dream is it was lo'hayu v'lo nivra. Here's $1,000." He handed them. He said, "But you better not do the gzeira." So he got him to take the bribe. That was anyway. So Jews, that's what we learned from Yaakov and Esav. Obviously, only within, can't break the law, but within that. Anyway, let us continue. Anyway, the Pirkei Rabbi Glatstein says that Samuel sees Shaloi Nimtzam Chepi Yom Kippurim, that they have no sin on Yom Kippur. He says, "Yibanu Shalom, Yesh L'cha Echad Ba'aretz K'Malachi Asher B'Shamayim." There is one nation in this world. They're like angels, just like Malachim have no knees. So too a Kal Yisrael on Yom Kippur, they stand all day, they don't sit. Just like Malachim, they don't eat. Kal Yisrael doesn't eat on Yom Kippur. Just like Malachim have no sin, Klal Yisrael has no sin. Just like Malachim are b'shalom, so too Klal Yisrael is b'shalom. And Hashem listens to the defense testimony of the Samach Mem, and He gives Klal Yisrael a good year. HaKadosh Baruch Hu shemei edusan shel Yisrael min hakateber, from the prosecutor, and he's mechaper on the Mizbeach and the Kohanim and all of Klal Yisrael. So in other words, who is our greatest adversary on Yom Kippur? The Samach Mem himself. So in other words, what we're learning is somehow, by offering this carbon to the Satan, it makes him feel good. It's like a bribe, and we butter him up, and then all of a sudden he turns, and instead of being an accusing attorney, he becomes our defendant.
When we say Haskell Tegar Nasas Neger on Yom Kippur, how is that possible?
Haskell Tegar, silence him and take the defendant in his place.
The Sair silences the Samach Mem. Boy,
yeah.
It's a pretty cheap bribe for a Kol Klal Yisrael.
Right.
And
and he falls for it.
Bribes, the next year he's going to say, "You know what? The price went up."
Good, very good. So comes the Satmar Rebbe. Listen to this. This is godliness. Comes the Satmar Rebbe.
I thought you converted me last Wednesday.
And he says, "I have shot in the Ibn Ezra." Why? You know what it means when you get to 33, you'll understand it. Look in the Tosfos, look in the Rosh, look in the Ramban. I have another pshat. And that is, and I have to tell you, I have thought of this pshat over the years. I think even when we said this, we said a shiur on a different subject, maybe 5 years ago, I think we threw it out. But now I saw it in here. He says like this in the second, look at number 10. Yesh lefarish oid hakavana. You know what the Ibn Ezra means when you get to 33, you'll get there? It means when you look in the Zohar HaKadosh, you'll understand the secret of the Sar Azazel. What does the Zohar HaKadosh have to do with number 33? Well, the Zohar says on the Pasuk, that by giving the Satan a present, he becomes a great defendant to Klal Yisrael. What does that mean? If anybody heard the shiur, we gave the shiur right before Pesach. It was actually a Shabbos Hagadol drasha about working on Kas. How the Rambam writes the following: Kol hakoyes keilu Ovid Avodah Zarah. Right? Everybody know. Anyone here not hear that before? Everybody heard that before. Kol HaKois Kil Avodah Zarah. Where does it say that? It doesn't say it anywhere in the Gemara, not anywhere in Talmud Bavli, not anywhere in Talmud Yushalmi, not in the Sifri, not in the Sifra. Where did the Rambam get it from? No, nowhere in the Gemara does it say that if you get angry, it's like over the Gemara says Kol HaMekareya Begadim or Meshaber Kelim Bechamasai Male Olav Kilo. But the Gemara that's if you break things. But Stam Kas, the Gemara doesn't say Kilo Eved Avazar. Who told the Rambam Stam Kas is Eved Avazar? The Zohar says Mila b'Mila Kol HaKois Kilo Eved Avazar. And some say, we see from here the Rambam saw the Zohar. And there are a few other things the Rambam said that must have come from the Zohar. For example, by Chalitza, the Rambam says that she takes the shoe and she throws it away. It doesn't say that anywhere in Shas. It's a Zohar. And there are a few other halachas the Rambam says that seem to have come from the Zohar. But the Chidah says it's impossible. The Zohar was not Nesgala until hundreds of years after the Rambam. How could the Rambam have seen the Zohar?
When was the Zohar Nesgala?
What year exactly?
No.
A few hundred years after him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wasn't Rav Shimon Yochai? Yes.
Rav Shimon Yochai, first of all, did not write the Zohar. Rav Shimon Yochai told his student Rabbi Abba to write the Zohar, but then it was hidden, and it lay hidden for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years until after the Rishonim.
After the Rishonim? After
Rishonim, yeah. So says the Satmar Rebbe, in concordance with the Chidah, listen to this, Matzinu, Sherabeinu Hanesher Agado Haram, we find that the Rambam, Mevim harbe inyanim imamari Chazal. He brings many statements of Chazal, asher lo nimsa lahem makar, that has no source ela b'Zohar. You look through the Rambam, there are certain halachas in the Rambam that you say, the man obviously had access to the Zohar, but we know he didn't. So what's the pshat?
Maybe Zohar was a gilgul of the Rambam.
What's the pshat? The answer is, the Rambam had ancient midrashim, that we don't have anymore, and those midrashim had statements of Reb Shimon Yochai, which were similar statements that are found in the Zohar. Some claim the Rambam saw the Zohar. The truth is, in the times of the Rambam, the Zohar was not revealed. It is well known. The Rishonim had many midrashim that we don't have. And in those midrashim, they had many statements of the Rashbi and his Talmidim and his Talmidim, and the same statements that you have in the Zohar. And it's these statements, the Rambam saw these statements, Umisham Hera Makara Makar Hatara, and there he drew forth from a pure source. And therefore, says the Satmar Rebbe, if people debate whether the Rambam saw the Zohar or not, you could debate whether the Rambam was a Makabal. But there is no question that there was one Rishon that we know for sure that was a Makabal. And that is the Ibn Ezra. Because the Ramban writes in a number of places that there are certain comments of Ibn Ezra you cannot understand if you don't know Kabbalah. And therefore, he says, Ibn Ezra, he suggests Ibn Ezra definitely had many of these midrashim of the Rosh Yochai. He was well versed in Kabbalah. Even though there are those who question on the Rambam if he was a Baal Makubal, even though it would seem from his writings that he was, Ibn Ezra, everyone agrees that Ibn Ezra was well versed in Kabbalah. The Ramban himself says there are many statements of the Ibn Ezra she'ena muvanim el al pisaid, like in Parshas Balak and Parshas Vaschanan. You could say the following. The same way we have a tradition, even though it doesn't really say it anywhere, that the Hilula, the Yom HaPtira of Reb Shimon Yochai was what day? Number 33. We have a tradition that Reb Shimon Yochai passed away on number 33. It could be this is what the Ibn Ezra means. When you get up to the statements of the Rashbi in the Zohar, and what's a way of cryptically stating, when you know what Reb Shimon Yochai says, you'll understand it. When you get up to 33, because 33 is the day Reb Shimon Yochai was Megala the Zohar to the world, that's the day of his Yom HaHilula, then you'll understand the secret of the Azazel, because in fact, there are many places in the Zohar HaKadosh that he reveals to us the secret of the Sar Azazel. So what the Ibn Ezra means is the following. When you get to 33, when you get to Lag BaOmer, and you understand what happened on Lag BaOmer is the day the secrets of the Torah were revealed, you'll also understand the secret of the Sar Azazel. Says the Satmar Rebbe, that is the pshat in the Ibn Ezra. Now, I once thought similar let's say maybe add a little bit explanation. The Bnei Yissaschar writes the following: that what's the significance of Lag BaOmer? Well, we know God created the world with how many pathways of Chachma? 32. Lamed Beis Nesivos HaChachma. That's the first chapter of the Sefer Yitzira. Lamed Beis Nesivos HaChachma Bara Hashem Es Ha'olam. That corresponds to how many times does it say Elohim in the first parak of Bereshis? 32. God created the world with 32 pathways of Chachma. Now, the Bnei Yissaschar points out, if you count 32 words in the Chumash, 1, Bereshis, Bar, Elohim, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. What's the 33rd word? Taiv. After the 32 pathways of wisdom, corresponding to the first 32 words of the Chumash, you get to the word Taiv. Taiv refers to the light of the Torah, the secrets of the Torah. What's the gematria of Taiv? 17. 32 is the first 32 days of the Yomer. 17 are the last 17 days of the 49 days of the Yomer. The first 32 days of the Yomer correspond to the Chachmas HaTorah. The last 17 days of the Yomer correspond to the light, the secrets of the Torah. The 33rd day of the Yomer is the day that the secrets of the Torah began to be revealed to the world. Also, that could be what the Ibn Ezra means. When you get to 33, when you get to Toiv, when you get to the secrets of the Torah, you'll understand the meaning of the Sar Azazel. Okay? And I just want to read to you quickly before we get to something which is very profound. Part of it is an idea we once said from the Michtam Eliyahu, and the next part is also very amazing. The Zohar HaKadosh, first of all in Acharei Mos, the Raya Mehemna in Acharei Mos, the Zohar in Emor, it's also a Zohar in Pinchas. They all reveal to us, similar to the Ramban, the secret of the Sar Azazel. And that is, the Zohar says, look at number 11, Chida writes, even if you have no idea what the Zohar is telling you, it's still good for your neshama to read the words. So, hopefully it will help us out a little bit, Hopefully it will do something good for us. The Zohar says, Amarle Rabbi Abba, Yihachi v'haksiv la'yizbechu oides zivchem l'seirim. It says, don't bring karbanos to the seirim. Amarle shani hacha. It's different here. The hasam l'seirim havu kraven karbana. There they brought karbanos to the demons. But the Sar Azazel v'gin kach la'yksiv la'yizbechu oides zivchem seirim. It doesn't say don't bring goats. It says don't bring it to the demons, to the goats. The hasam l'seirim have abdu pulchana v'shul tenusa. There they brought karbanos to their gods. The goat bears the sins of karbano la'is avid, but this carbon was brought ella l'kut shabricho. This carbon was brought to God. Uvegin, and once we bring it, the salakahu categoria, the prosecution ends. V'savid sanegoria di Yisrael, and it brings defense for Klal Yisrael. At that point, Kutchabrichu sees all, Hashem throws out all of our accusations. And you know what he does? Not a line, he takes them, Varami line, and he throws them, La'asar de Iskarim Metzulas Yam, to a place that's called the Abyss. So somehow by bringing this carbon to the Azazel, it changes him around. Right? You ever hear like when these inspectors come? Right, when the inspector comes to these schools, so what do? They all of a sudden, they feed him a good breakfast, a good lunch, a good dinner. They drive him around. They butter him up. It's not shaychad, but it is shaychad, right? So now comes the Divrei Yael, Samer Rebbe. He says this whole thing is very mysterious. Doesn't make any sense. We give shaychat to the Satan. I mean, how stupid is the Satan? Here he has an opportunity. Every Jew has sinned. His job is to accuse. His job is to prosecute. And you throw him a goat, you give him a meal, and that's it. I mean, how dumb could anyone be? He should be fired. It's one thing a politician takes a real bribe. Okay, so we understand. Imagine a politician sells himself for like $10. Guy's a shaita shaba'ilam.
For a goat.
Yeah, for a goat. And, right, like you asked before, we gave him the gold last year. If anything, he should come back and say, this year, my prices changed this year. Rates have increased. And even if you want to say the Samach Mem changed one time, and he fell for it one time, But it doesn't make sense that year after year he falls for the same thing. And you could ask the same question on Rosh Hashanah. We know we blow the shofar twice. Why? To confuse the Satan. He's going to think Mashiach is coming, and he's going to run away. And again, you could ask, I mean, you got to be kidding. This is who God hired to do the job? Where the guy is like schizophrenic, he has different phobias. He needs to see like a therapist, you know. The therapist says, what are you here for? I'm afraid of Mashiach. He has anxieties, he has... what kind of Satan is this? The guy is Meshugana. Must be.
Rabbi, the Pasuk says,
one second, I'm just going to go, yeah?
Remember, the Azazel's got to be referring to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Where are we getting the idea that this Azazel is for the Samach Mem?
La Azazel. You're sending it to La Azazel. You're sending the goat.
You're sending the goat to the Azazel. So,
but listen to what he says. This is very amazing. He says it must be that the whole way the Satan operates is miraculous. It's bedarach nes. It's not something that we could really understand. It's not like you can ask kashas. What's pshat? He's afraid Mashiach is coming. What's pshat that every year he falls for the same trick of the goat? But on some level, we can understand it as follows. And I once had. I'll give you an example. Let's say, remember we once learned a technique. If the Satan wants to get you to do an Avera, the best way to deal with him is not now. Not now. I'll do it later. Satan says, go look. Something really good to look at. Really, you'll get a big hana. So if you tell the Satan, no, I'm not going to look, he said, yes, you are. And you fall prey. So you tell him, I'll look tomorrow, next time. I'll look in an hour, I'll look in 5 minutes. You're in the middle of a shiur, and the Satan says, you got to do a big mitzvah right now. All of a sudden, all these big mitzvahs come up in the middle of Shiurim, right? So you tell, you're right, if it's a very big mitzvah, I'm going to go in 1 minute. And it's a way of pushing off the Satan. You give him, it's like you give in to him, you give a shaychad, you say, you're right, it's a bigger mitzvah, and I'm going to do it in 1 minute. And then he backs off.
But he knows that trick.
And the question is, how come he always falls for that trick? The answer is because you also fall for the same trick. Because every time you're about to do a mitzvah, you know what the Satan tells you? It's a very big mitzvah! But not yet. Do it in a minute, do it in an hour, do it, and then you forget about it, you never end up doing it. God deals with the Satan, midah keneged midah. We don't understand exactly how he operates, but one thing we do know is that it's quid pro quo. It's measure for measure. And the Satan, you know why you're able to trick him and say, I'll do the Avera later, I'll do the Avera later, I'll do the Avera later? Is because that's how he tricks you every single day of your life, every hour of your life. Every good thing you ever wanted to do, the Satan says, you later, when you retire, when the stocks go up, when the weather is better, then the Satan knows when you get when you clean the garage, after you clean the garage, you'll do it. But the garage is dirty, so there's no time now. You have to clean the garage, you have to clean the base. Fine. So it's midah keneged midah. You could trick him easily because God lets him trick you easily. Says the Satmar Rebbe, you know how sheikhad the Satan works? Okay, there are 2 levels of this. This is very nice. Because the way Hashem, you know why Hashem allows the Satan to be persuaded by this foolish sheikhad? Because basically that's what the Satan does to us every single minute of our life. Because how many eternal things do we give up for nothing? Why are we doing the mitzvah? Because I can make $10. Well, what's that? Wait a second. You're telling me that you're giving up eternity for $10? What kind of fool are you? You're taking the stupid bribe of $10 to give up an eternal mitzvah? How did you fall for that? How dumb could you be? Well, Hashem lets the Satan trick us with mamish nothing, with imaginary, illusory, empty fantasy. That's our whole life. How the Satan fools us with fantasies, with chaloimos. And therefore, midah keneged midah, the Rebbe Shalom allows us on Yom Kippur to let him fall for fantasy. What's a goat? What's a goat going to do with the Satan? What's he's going to eat it? He ate it last year. It wasn't good. It didn't taste good last year. Anyway, the Satan, it's not like a prime rib. All the limbs are torn apart. It's disgusting. Yeah, but he fell. Hashem allows the Satan to fall for the false illusion of the Sar Azazel because that's what he does to us every single day. That's his whole game plan. One deeper step. Why does the Satan defend us? Says the Satmar Rebbe, this is the greatest defense for the Jewish people. Because when you highlight the fact that the Satan is falling for nonsense, and he looks like a complete fool, why would God ever allow that to happen to him? It's only because he had the ability to pull the wool over our eyes the entire year. And Hashem empowered him to so easily trick us. When it becomes so revealed to the world how powerful the Satan is, that he has the ability to pull the wool over our eyes and to trick us with demyonos, with chaloimos, with hevel havolim. And how does everybody see that he could trick us? Because obviously if we could trick him so easily, that means he must have been able to do it to us. And therefore the greatest defense for Klal Yisrael is it's like spotlight on the Satan. You see what we do to the Satan? That's what he's been doing to us for our entire life. And that's our defense. Rebbe Shalom. This is what the Devar says. This is the defense of the Shoichad LaSatan. And if you look at number 15, he quotes...
Aren't we supposed to be better than the Satan? I mean, why do we sink to the level of the way the Satan does things?
We're supposed to be. Look,
we're giving credence to the way the Satan operates.
No, there are two things. First of all, it's a lesson for us. Because when we see how dumb he looks, look how dumb this guy looks on Yom Kippur. He looks like such a shaita. It's like, imagine if we took our biggest adversary and he became our greatest spokesman. The guy looks like a wishy-washy flip-flop. Well, that's what we are the whole year. We fall for the same emptiness. So first of all, it's a limud for Klal Yisrael. And second of all, it's a tremendous limud zechus for Klal Yisrael. Because if Hashem is allowing this to happen to the Satan must be so empowered, so powerful, so conniving, so cunning, to be able to do this to us the whole year. By the way, he brings down, in number 15, from the Siddur of the Ramak, Rav Moshe Cordovero, that if you look in Parshas Acharei Mos, and you have to look very carefully, 3 times by the Sar Azazel it says Lifnei Hashem. It doesn't even say that by the Sar of the Kohen Gadol. It says 3 times by the Sar Azazel Lifnei Hashem. Why? It's part of the bribe. We make him think, he's on the good side. It's like that's also a bribe. We make him feel good. You're Lifnei Hashem. You're close to Hashem. But this is all part of the Sar Azazel. So I want to just read it inside very quickly.
But he hears the Shiur. He knows the Shiur, so he still knows it.
He still knows it, and yet he still makes us. But we also know the Shiur, and we also fall for it, right? So it works both ways. So let's read on the second to last paragraph. Al derech zeh efshar lahazver gam kein inyan sar hamishtalech hanita and doran lasamach mem l'shachtoi shlo yikatcher gal yisrael. Dineh zeh darko yizbarach. This is the derech of Hashem. Lahanish mida keneged mida. God punishes measure for measure. It is the way of the Yetzer Hara lahasas. It's roiv b'nei Adam, to cause most people to go astray. How? Not through substance, but through complete blindness. He's mesames einayim. Through what? Through shoichad. He bribes us. Money, kavod. This will be good in life. That will be good. Just do the averos. You're better off. Like the Mesilas Yesharim says, there is no greater shoichad than someone who takes a bribe from his taivos and his ritzonos. And then look at the next paragraph. Since it's a derech of samach mem l'sgabra al b'nei ha'adam, to overpower a person, l'hapilam berishtai, to make them fall in his trap, ayidei hashoichad, that he traps us and he bribes us the whole year. Therefore, Hashem allows us to do it to the Satan. We measure out to him, measure for measure, and to fool him through the Sar Mishaleach. He accepts the gift. It's like, the Satan says, oh, thank you so much. That was such a wonderful gift that you gave me. And then he doesn't see any zchus. And even though he knows last year he fell for it, and the year before he fell for it, but we also do that. Every time the Satan comes with the same taiva, we say, well, we fell for that last week. Doesn't matter. We'll fall for it again. Why doesn't the Satan say from us, wait a second, for that goat I forgave every sin of every Jew? What kind of shaita am I? He doesn't say that. Because we never say that. He falls for it again. It's a hidden miracle. Asher asa Hashem. That's the secret of the Sar Azazel. That no matter, and it reveals to us, it's mida keneged mida yana shehu hit esabriyos v'simaseineim through the shecha v'kam ba'amanasa adam meshuchad shechoshev shikava yidei avera is a tovas hana. People think, yeah, I'll do the avera and I'll get some kind of benefit from it, even though you knew last time it didn't help you out at all. Okay. What comes out is Yesh Kitsas Limud Chus al Bnei Yisrael. There's a little bit of a Limud Chus. I think it's a tremendous Limud Chus, which weakens the Karach of Satan. Why? It weakens the accusations of Samach Mem, who is Mekacher against Kaisa. Ki Amar Yoimrulai, because we say to the Samach Mem goes up to God and he says, God, look how foolish they are. Look how they fall for this every time.
Same way.
Says, hey, big talker, you fall for it even worse. So that weakens any accusation he has from Klai. So in other words, since he gets us to fall this way, and mida keneged mida, we get him to fall that way. So now he can't talk because we could say right back to him, you fall for the same thing. And even though, and we say better, you're an angel, you're a fiery angel, and you fall for it. So what do you want from us? So now our eyes have been enlightened, the reason for this mitzvah. So in other words, besides the fact that the Samach Mem is quiet, and why is he quiet? Because we could tell him, what? You have the same problem. But more than that, he defends us. Why does he defend us? Because now he understands how powerful he is. Because now that he sees that we could get him to fall for nothing, he recognizes that he must have been able to get us to fall for nothing.
Who makes the thread turn red or white? Is that the Samach Mem or Kodesh Baruch Hu?
Probably Hashem. So
it's Hashem that one that's, when we throw off the Sair,
yeah, God created the system, but the concept of it is, and Rabbi said this is something that the Mechtamei Law says a person is able to take advantage of, a person is able to utilize, because any trick that the Yetzer Hara could get us to fall and stumble in, you could use against him. So it's an important technique to have. Next time the Yetzer Hara tells you to do an avera, you tell him not now, later, a different time, or you could always give him a goat on Yom Kippur, and that will always take care of the trick. Rabbi Sai, Agon Shabbos, and a Freilichen Lamed Gimel. Take care.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.